Hi, my name is Dewald Nolte. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for Entersekt, based out of Atlanta in the US. The fact that most of the authentication solutions that you have in place at the moment are very much designed in silos, right? So you might have a specific authentication solution looking at only a specific channel, right? Like I'll take the example to say you've got SMS one-time passwords protecting your online banking channel. So you'll use a username and a password and maybe a SMS one-time password to log in to secure that. But then you see that other channels are protected by other methods, right? You call into a call center. Yeah, that might be, your 20 questions, right? So knowledge-based authentication. Or you come into your mobile app and then that's maybe, something like Face ID or your fingerprint kind of biometric that's used there. And so if you're a consumer interacting with a financial institution and you're just looking at these channels that you use every single day, right? Like things like, well, not every single day, hopefully, but very regularly, call center, digital banking, and then maybe mobile banking. The experiences are completely different across that. And so as a consumer, that's quite frustrating, right? You kind of want to have a consistent experience when you interact with your bank. And it's not too difficult to actually achieve that. And so definitely we're seeing that there is a big need to try and unify those experiences, those solutions to get a consistent consumer experience across those channels. And then you kind of also see, some I guess frustration from the bank side in the fact that they can't get these channels to talk. The call centers will authenticate you by sending an SMS one-time password to you, and then asking you to read it back to the agent, right, to authenticate yourself. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a good idea, right? Because I'm sending you a unique code, you're reading it back to me, so obviously you were, in a position to receive that. And so I've been with clients that would very proudly tell you that that's how advanced their course in authentication is. Here's the problem. I don't know, like if it's an inbound call, right? So if someone's calling me as a call center agent, I don't know who I'm talking to, so now I'm trying to authenticate you. And so I will send an SMS one-time password to you and wait for you to kind of confirm that to validate that you are who you say you are. What the attackers are doing is they have targeted attacks. So I will target Matthew Love, right? So I'll call your bank because I know by way of some data that I fished or bought somewhere on the internet, I know what your banking credentials are, right? So I will call the call center and then I will have you on another line, right? Either my friend sits right next to me and gives you a call, or I've got just a dialer on my PC that can put something on hold while I speak to you. And so I call you and I say to you, hey Matthew, I'm from the bank. We're seeing some fraud activity on your account. I just need you to quickly authenticate yourself. We'll be sending you an SMS one-time password. If you can just read that back to me, right? You being trained to know that that is how they authenticate on this channel. We'll do that without thinking twice. What's happening is on the other line, I am as the fraudster, I'm on the call with the real call center claiming to be you. And I just wait for you to give me the one-time password, which the bank just sent you. I told you you'll get it. The bank actually sends it to you. It looks really legit because now you're getting an SMS from the bank as well, right? So it's just fantastic. You give me the one-time password and I give it back to the bank and I'm in, right? And you are none the wiser because you don't even know that you didn't speak to the bank. And so it's actually becoming quite easy to do that, right? To attack in that way. And one of the challenges of solving that is just, how do you really stop a consumer? How do you train them to know, oh, well, now they're talking to a fraudster? It's just so difficult because these guys are just so convincing, right? And they use techniques like they'll create urgency, or they'll make you panic and you're not thinking straight. They really, I mean, these are trained professionals. And so the challenge, or the vulnerability really here, that's kind of at the source of all this, is the fact that you only have visibility kind of one channel in that case, right? As a consumer, I only have context of the fact that I'm getting a call from the bank. I don't really have context of what's happening on the other channels. So I don't know that I'm being attacked. And that's the challenge here, is that if you have an authentication solution that only has view or context of one channel, you're blind on what attack vectors might be happening on the other channels. And then, that really kind of opens up the door to these more sophisticated ways of attack. And so it's really important to have a solution that has visibility or context of multiple channels for that reason. Because if the bank's system, for example, has the ability to pick up that, wait a minute, we're kind of seeing someone call in, or we're seeing a login attempt right from somewhere on the west coast of the US, but Matthew is authenticating from the Netherlands, that might immediately look suspicious. And of course, that risk engine can then, stop the transaction, or kind of intervene, because of the fact that it has that additional context to say, wait a minute, when I look at both channels here, something's not adding up. But without that additional context, you're kind of a bit of a sitting duck to these more advanced attack vectors. If you look at something like user experience in the digital age, it is just absolutely king, right? If you can deliver the best user experience, you will get users and you will win their hearts, right? There's not a lot of loyalty there. It's about, where can I get the best experience? And that, when you think about it, is quite a difficult thing to achieve, because what is the best? I mean, how do I know what is the best experience? If I look at the way that I set up my phone, right? So just the way that I lay out my apps, my screens, that's something that, in my opinion, is the best way, right, to do it. But if you were to take my phone and try to operate it, you would probably be extremely frustrated by the way that I laid out. Like, it wouldn't make sense. Why did I do it like this? And, because that's not the way that you would use it. And so what's interesting about a good user experience is actually the fact that it's a very personal thing. It is quite a personal thing to get that, a consumer to be like, yeah, this is really good for me, because it just is so different from one person to the next. And so the way to really then to make sure that you can deliver that best user experience is to provide the capability to, in real time, take into account consumer choice, and to offer them some choice, right? So, for example, we have a client, a fairly large issuer, that we did an implementation for their e-commerce authentication, right? And what you can do with that client is the consumer is able to, in their mobile banking app, set up what their preferred authentication mechanism is for e-commerce transactions. What is their preferred method? What is the fallback, like the secondary, etc. And they can do that in real time. So I can log into my app, set that to be in-app authentication, in-app biometric, for example, as my primary. And then maybe at night, I might choose to do something different. Like if I'm on my computer, lying in my bed, and my phone's charging in another room, maybe doing the biometric on my app in that case might not be the most convenient for me. I might choose something like email OTP, or or SMS one-time password in that case, if I set it up to actually pop on my PC as well. And so I think the point being there that this client of ours is able to give their consumers the ability to, in real time, set that choice. So the moment you've done it, the next moment you do a transaction, boom, right, whatever you just selected in real time is available to you. And I mean, it is, if you look at the success rates that we've seen on e-commerce, it just went through the roof, right? Like, they are seeing super high success rates because consumers are able to customize their e-commerce experience to, to be the way that they choose it to be. Yes, they still need to do strong authentication, and the options that are offered by the bank still keep them secure, and they've got very, very sophisticated systems that look at risk and apply the most appropriate authentication, but they take into account the consumer's choice as well, and that has had a tremendously positive effect on success rates and conversion rates on their cart channel for e-commerce. And so I think from that perspective, very, very important that you give your clients and your customers the ability to customize and choose what their preferred method is of authentication, while at the same time making sure that those choices are responsible choices. So if you're a bank today and you are using email one-time passwords or SMS one-time passwords, right? I mean, look, first of all, I guess, that's already a step in the right direction, right? Because at least it's better than nothing, right? It's not just using a password. So at least that's a good step in the right direction. I think what we need to do is then say, right, okay, that's step one. How do we move towards a modern system that really kind of can secure your entire digital journey as a consumer? Because I think what's happening today is that your consumer journeys from a digital point of view many times, right, extend beyond just something like internet banking or just mobile banking. It goes into e-commerce. It goes into even using third-party wallets, right, or let's say like streaming services where you actually add your card into those wallets, right? And so there are many things, right, that your digital journey spans across as a consumer, right? And so I think from that point of view, when you consider the solution that you put in place, is that solution setting you up for success to really kind of, first of all, protect all those different user journeys? And second of all, does it enable you to really make those user journeys like a good and consistent experience? So if you're using only SMS one-time password and email OTP today, okay, that might be, protect you against your very, very basic attacks. But the moment you have more sophisticated attacks, you're going to start getting exposed. And those authentication mechanisms will not set you up for success in any way when you are interacting on another channel. So for example, the fact that I'm using an email OTP or a SMS one-time password when I'm logging in on my digital banking really is going to mean nothing for me when I do an e-commerce transaction on that same browser later in the day. There are other pieces that you need to really kind of bring those two worlds together. And so as a digital bank, or or as a bank servicing a fully digital consumer, I'd say you need a platform that can help you secure those logins with more modern, I guess a suite of more modern options, right? So, and I'm not saying get rid of SMS one-time password completely. I do think it has its place. But what we would like to do here is to say there's one platform that can really bring modern authentication capabilities, such as biometric authentication capabilities, both on your PC and on your mobile device, right? That's a consistent experience. So now suddenly I have a consistent experience when I log into my mobile phone, right? It's a biometric challenge there. And if I log into my PC, there's a biometric for online banking. There's a biometric challenge there. So now I have a consistent experience. And guess what? If I'm doing Apple Pay or Samsung Pay, I'm using that same biometric authentication to do that payment. So now suddenly you're starting to kind of create a consistent experience across your channels. Add some other tools to that, like your silent signals, like device IDs, silent identifiers that you can kind of put into browsers to identify those endpoints. And suddenly you can leverage the fact that I have seen you on a specific browser in a when you log into online banking, you can then start leveraging that context to inform an e-commerce transaction, right? So now you're setting up your digital user when they do e-commerce to have a better journey. It's protected, first of all, because there's context that you can transfer, and second of all, you know, you have the ability to bring that additional context that informs your risk decisioning. And second of all, if you do have to challenge, you're using those more modern capabilities that creates a consistent consumer experience. So the user knows what to expect when they are transacting with your bank because it's consistent, right? Whether I'm paying at, with my digital wallet, when I'm in store, on e-commerce, or just logging into my online services, that's the same experience. And that's actually quite an important thing, and something that I think really, really will be a game changer from consumer experience point of view, but also in the security posture of consumers when using these digital channels. And so I think if looking at the majority of the banks, because the majority of banks still use SMS one-time password to protect their channels, their digital channels, and I think there's an opportunity to augment that capability with a modern platform that brings that context awareness and that modern authentication capabilities that, first of all, enables you to provide better and more modern authentication capabilities, and also then enables you to translate some of that context into other channels that can help you protect them and create better experiences for those consumers there. So it's actually a very opportune time to embark on that journey, as I think the tools are finally there to achieve that.